Hello everyone, Silent here and welcome back to another video. Today is our 5th anniversary on YouTube. We've been building and creating things in this lovely game that we call Minecraft for half a decade now. It's been an incredible adventure and so much has happened in the world, in Minecraft, and of course in this community too. Today I want to reflect on the past and show some of the ins and outs of what's happened during that time. I'll also be sharing some of my personal life adventures, stuff I've never shared with anyone before on the internet. And before we get into it, of course, I just want to say a massive thank you to you. This community is amazing, and YouTube has changed my life in ways that I just never expected or could possibly imagine. So thank you for being part of this adventure. Now let's wind back the clock and take a look at the previous 5 years. Our journey starts 5 years ago. I created my channel on May 22nd of 2016, and originally I was inspired by Hermitcraft Season 4, which had just started, Mumbo, Exuma, Tango, and all of the amazing things that that group of friends accomplished together. I'd never really been exposed to Minecraft YouTube before, and then I discovered it, and I was like, oh my god, it blew my mind. I never knew that such things were possible in Minecraft, and I thought that I could do it as well one day. I thought it would be fun, and without many other life skills or career opportunities or really any other options at the time, I thought that one day it might earn enough for maybe the food and the bills eventually. At the start, I had very modest goals. I wanted to break 1,000 subs within the first year and then 10,000 by the second year, and we did actually achieve those goals surprisingly. I knew that YouTube was a very long game. It would take years to build if it even worked out at all, and of course it requires extreme dedication and discipline and determination. When I first started my channel, the only things I had was an Xbox One, the default microphone that came with it, the super bad one, and access to a Mac Mini to create some beautiful thumbnails. Now, the first things I ever actually uploaded to the channel were some Roblox clips of like hide and seek with my friends and some Minecraft bugs with no commentary, and sadly, these have been lost to time. It was about a week before I uploaded my first proper video, and the internet heard my voice for the first time, and here is what it sounded like.
Okay, welcome everybody to my new series of redstone creations from my redstone world. To turn on, you simply flip this switch here. It's really loud though.
And yes, I'm aware, my voice, it changed. Literally every single comment on that video is about my voice. So for comparison, here's some intros of mine over the years.
Hey guys, Silent Whisperer here. Hey everybody, how's it going? Silent Whisperer here. Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to the first episode of Silent Survival.
Hello everyone, Silent here. Welcome back to another episode of Silent Survival. Hello everyone, Silent here. Welcome to the first ever episode of Decidedly Vanilla Season 5. Hello everyone, Silent here. Welcome to the very first episode of Truly Bedrock. Hello everyone, Silent here, and welcome to another Bug Rock episode. Hello everyone, Silent here, and welcome to Truly Bedrock Season 2. Hello everyone, Silent here, and welcome back to another Bedrock Edition tutorial. Hello everyone, Silent here, and welcome back to another episode of Bug Rock of the Week. So yeah, my voice has changed. I've kind of been, you know, trying to speak a little bit nicer and just better and kinder and more charismatic for the YouTubes because nobody wants to listen to a boring voice, am I right? How boring can my voice go? I guess this is about as boring as my voice gets, but that's way too boring. Speaking of comments, the first ever comment on the channel is just this. I still, to this day, have no idea what that smiley is supposed to mean. During the early days of the channel, I had no idea what I really wanted to do long term, so I tried out a bunch of different content forms. I really tried so many different things in the early days of the channel. It's a little bit ridiculous. I made all kinds of weird and random wacky videos of redstone, clickbaity things, strange survival experiences called Twisted Survival, and weird sarcastic videos about new features, which I just kind of randomly rambled about features that everyone knew about in Minecraft, like a chest and torches. I also made some random videos on Battle and Tumble, which I played way too much of back in the day. Sadly, I deleted a ton of my older content a couple years back, and all of that stuff is now lost to time. I even deleted my 50 and 100 sub specials, and I don't know of any ways to find or restore that old content. In hindsight, I really should have privatized it instead of deleting it, but what can you do? Now, don't get me wrong, all of the content was absolute garbage. There's only the nostalgic feeling of it that makes it at all good. I edited all of my content directly on the Xbox One using Upload Studio, the worst piece of junk on the entire planet. Anyone who used Upload Studio in 2017 rigorously knows how bad it was. I used that program for so many videos. Just to give you a sense of how bad things were back then, this is basically what my 50 subscriber special looked like, and this is basically what my 100 subscriber special looked like. I also created my own intro inside of Minecraft, and this is more or less a recreation of it. After several months of this, we would eventually break 100 subscribers, and a couple months later, we started our first proper survival series, Silent Survival. Silent Survival will become a crucial part of the channel, and to this day, I'm still very happy with how that series turned out, as you can probably tell by the channel banner everywhere. A little fun fact for you, Silent Survival was recorded by streaming to Twitch and then editing down the VODs into actual episodes and then uploading that to YouTube. A totally painful process, and as you can tell, I really didn't have much going for me in the early days. Silent Survival really kicked me into gear and got me doing things more consistently. I started making my thumbnails more standard, got a new headset, and overall started taking YouTube more seriously. Around this time, we also broke 1,000 subscribers on the channel, and I started making some of the very first videos, which would eventually lead to the foundations of Bedrock. I also started streaming consistently on Twitch and got a proper streaming schedule and upload schedule, both of which I've kept to this very day. So on the IRL front, during this time, life wasn't that great, but I did have a consistent job at a hotel. I was doing the housekeeping for every single room, every single day, and eventually I will have saved up about 3 months of pay from that and invested that in my first ever PC. And that is the same exact PC that I'm using to this day, and I've recorded every single video since then with that PC. So if you stayed in a hotel in Oregon during 2016, there's a very small chance that you helped fund my YouTube channel. So thank you. Also, side note here, that hotel was 3 miles away and I had to bike there 3 miles there and back every single day. And Oregon, if you don't know, it has torrential downfall rain, basically like sideways rain. Yeah, I got very, very wet. But also lots of leg muscles. That was fun. Never needed to do leg day again. Moving into 2017, this year started very, very rocky. Someone broke my Xbox and most of my other stuff too with prejudice. So I had to work a couple more months to save up, buy a new console and a new headset. Fun fact, if there was no cloud saves on Xbox One, I actually would have lost Silent Survival entirely, including this redstone world and everything else I'd ever created as well. IRL issues persisted, however, and I was actually homeless for about a week. I had a duffel bag of stuff, including my recording equipment and some other small valuables, and I just kind of had to get out of there. I actually had to sneak back at like 4:30 in the morning and like grab some more of my stuff. Pretty sure I ended up walking about 12 miles that day because, of course, my bike chose that day to get a flat tire. Seriously, you can't make these things up. And then I was actually able to rent a bedroom a couple towns over, and that was also crazy. I was getting up at like 6:30 in the morning, riding the bike a mile, catching a bus, studying on the bus, then going to work at the hotel, catching the bus back, more studying, riding home, and then of course recording the YouTube videos and streaming. Needless to say, content during this time definitely suffered, and there's several videos from this period that have also been deleted. At this point in time, I was still very dedicated to Legacy Console Edition, but for those switching over to Bedrock Edition, I started making some basic tutorials and seeing if anything from Java Edition would work in a new mini-series called Will It Work? It lasted 3 episodes. The answer was no. During this time, I also started doing more community-based things with Silent Survival. People in the comments could challenge me to do something on the series, and I would name a fully enchanted thing after commentators. Many of the people who got a named item are still around to this day, and some of them would even become great friends of mine. Building a true community was becoming a main focus of mine, so I created the Silent Syndicate Discord, a place where everyone in the community could hang out. Originally, it was called SOS, and I don't think anyone on the planet remembers what SOS stood for. Today, the Silent Syndicate is the heart of our community, where most communication happens between community members, and of course, where the most fun is had too. Together, we've sent over 7.8 million messages, and I absolutely love the Silent Syndicate community. It's probably one of my proudest creations, honestly. Back to IRL, I needed to move out of my current room and found another spot all the way across town. Rent is crazy expensive on the West Coast. I was paying over $700 a month for a basic bedroom with nothing else, and I still had the same transportation issues, except now it was a 3-mile bike ride to the bus stop instead of 1. Seriously, I never needed to do leg day, ever, and I think I still don't. Like 4 years later, I'm pretty sure I still don't need to do any leg days. Shortly after this time, they announced that Legacy Console Edition wasn't getting any more updates, not even the next big update to update Aquatic. I still played on Legacy a lot during this era. It wasn't dead yet, but I realized I needed to transition to Bedrock Edition eventually, and thus I started dedicating more to Bedrock Edition tutorials. As long as it worked, it would be helpful. Every single console player just got dumped into a game where nothing they knew was relevant or worked at all. Going into 2018, we were going strong with 4,000 subscribers. Silent Survival was still going very well, and I started taking YouTube and creation even more seriously. I began to understand Bedrock Edition Redstone a bit more and started releasing even more tutorials. Around this time, we also started our first ever fan server, Whispercraft, and Whispercraft is still around to this day, and it's about to reset for Season 4 even. Starting a fan server is one of the best things we've done for the community. It brings people together, builds friendships, partnerships, and collaborations, and it's had so many good times over the years. Not much later, Console Edition was officially discontinued, and it was clear I had to move on from Legacy Console. Bedrock Edition was pretty unplayable for survival in my eyes, so I started searching around and seeing if there was any Java SMP servers I could join. Up to this point, I'd never really done a collab with anyone or played anything multiplayer on the channel, so I didn't really know what I was doing. Thankfully for us, a rogue commentator happened to be part of a little server called Decidedly Vanilla, and it was setting for Update Aquatic. Back to IRL, the place I was working at ended up going under, so I was out of a job, and this is actually when I became a full-time YouTuber, purely out of necessity, with only 8,000 or so subscribers. It was thanks to the extreme kindness of a certain eagle on stream that the dream stayed alive, and so did I. It was time to leave Console Edition behind, end Silent Survival, and join Decidedly Vanilla Season 5. It was my first real time playing Java, so I decided to do what anyone would do, raid some end cities day 1 without killing the Ender Dragon, which was crazy fun, and I built a lot of good skills on Decidedly Vanilla. I learned how to collaborate with others, do mega builds together, work together on events, and I also learned how to do more editing with time lapses and second counts. I refined the modern form of my thumbnails during this time too, and it taught me the ins and outs of how an SMP works. Overall, my time on Decidedly Vanilla was pretty great, and I met a lot of good people too. I'm still happy to be their acquaintance to this day, and we also broke 10,000 subscribers while playing on Decidedly Vanilla. During my time on Decidedly Vanilla, I started doing more Java Edition tutorials while also releasing the occasional Bedrock tutorial for those who followed me but played on Bedrock Edition. And around this time, I also started another small experimental series called Bug Rock of the Week, the goal being to help fix Bedrock Edition over time by showing helpful ways to reproduce bugs, inform players of the bugs, and help bring Bedrock Edition issues to light. It was also during Decidedly Vanilla that Zloy convinced me to actually get a proper skin. I had always had the Zombie Pigman profile picture for the channel, but I always swap between skins constantly, and thus the Zombie Pigman was born as my main skin, and to this day I still wear them. Of course, that's kind of like my whole thing. I am the Piggo. This was also kind of the golden age of Bedrock Edition tech because no one really knew what was happening or how the game worked, so it was pretty much the Wild West when it came to farms. Pretty much anything was possible. Back to IRL, I actually ended up getting kicked out of my room with like a day's notice since I'd fallen super far behind on the rent. Luckily, the landlords were actually really nice and set me up with another room, so I had to do a little bit of work trade being the housekeeper for the entire apartment building, and eventually I caught up with rent after like 6 months. Things carried on like normal for a while, but eventually Decidedly Vanilla tampered out as most members found success in other series, and thus Decidedly Vanilla was left with only 3 members actively playing. Then Foxy No Tail came to me with a proposition to join and help create a new Bedrock Edition SMP. There were only a couple other members at the time, and it didn't even have a name. But Groova was in if Zloy was in, and Zloy was in if I was in, so about a third of the total white list relied on me joining, and honestly, I felt like it was good fun, and I really liked everyone that they had, so I decided to join. In many ways, Truly Bedrock was the first of its kind, and fans loved the interaction between members. The fact that we gave Bedrock the time of day and how we treated survival Minecraft basically made it an instant hit for many people. Probably the best thing about Season 0 is that everyone was so close to one another. Even on Realms, you could see most of the projects from the central island, and it just made everything feel so alive. Season 0 is planned to last 3 months, and then we reset for the main long Season 1. There was a lot going for Season 1, and around the time I also started making Bedrock Edition tutorials that I'm still happy with. Anything before this point is kinda cringe, not gonna lie. Season 1 introduced our first season-long storyline too, and it got me more into roleplay. It also introduced the iconic Broken Moon of the series. 2019 also brought our first ever patron Minecraft server for Bedrock Edition. At this point, the world is nearly 2 years old, and it's still home to an incredible amount of fun, shenanigans, and massive builds as well. It's still in its first season and about to reset for 1.17. Later in 2019, we also started our first ever Java patron server known as Piglandia. 2019 was the year that changed everything for the channel. At the start of the year, we had 14,000 subscribers and ended the year with 140. I truly never expected to see such growth in a year, and my original goal for that year was only 30,000. This was enough for me to be confident in my abilities and formally become a full-time YouTuber, and we also became a Twitch and Discord partner in 2019 as well, even more solidifying my role as a full-time creator. UHC Captains was a really fun event that happened near the end of 2019. It had a ton of people from Decidedly Vanilla I hadn't seen since the end of the series, and somehow I, the Bedrock player, took home the win versus all of these Java legends, and I still have no idea how that happened. Sadly, the end of 2019 was very rough IRL. My mom just got out of a terrible situation that she was subjected to for years and had to move in with me in my tiny 8x13 single room apartment. This prevented me from making content for about 3 to 4 months as we were busy with a flurry of legal issues that we wanted to and had to take care of. I started the year of 2020 by saying it would be an amazing year. Sorry, I kind of jinxed that one for everyone, but 2020 brings us to Season 2 of Truly Bedrock. I still have a lot to learn in regards to how to make a Let's Play, getting things done in survival, and overall being dedicated in the long term to projects. I never feel like I get enough done in my seasons and always feel like I should have done way more and a greater variety of things as well. Then again, I've always had to take massive breaks from creation due to IRL, and when left to my own devices, I can usually achieve a lot more. Overall, 2020 is another good year for growth. We reached 200 and 300,000 subscribers within the same year. Without many changes to content, at this point, we're pretty well into the flow of what content to make, how to make it, and what works for the channel. For the end of the year, I decided to make an advent calendar, 31 days in a row of non-stop tutorials. I managed to design, test, refine, record, edit, upload, and publish a tutorial every single day for a month straight. IRL wise, at the end of 2020, me and my mom pick up everything in our lives and moved pretty far away to escape the people who have harassed us and create a better future for ourselves. 2021 is here, and I work on my biggest Minecraft base in a long time, trying to cram as many farms as possible into the smallest simulation distance while not killing the server with lag, and actually trying to make it look good too. I've had the idea of this base for a very long time, and I'm actually pretty happy with how the base has turned out. 2021 also brings our first proper adventure into modded Minecraft with Sky Factory 4 and the truly Bedrock crew. It was honestly a really fun time playing on that server, and I'd like to try out more side series in the future as well. It's just a matter of figuring out what everyone likes. There's a bit of poetic irony in this journey. The same person who broke all my recording equipment years before was ultimately stopped by my passion and drive for being a YouTuber. Without YouTube, I have no idea how all of these IRL situations would have turned out, and I'm very thankful for all the wonderful things that have happened as a result of this channel and the silence. And here we are, 5 years later. I never expected to truly be doing this for half a decade, but it was my dream and goal when I first started this journey 5 years ago. I have many people to thank over the years. The biggest thank you, of course, goes to you, the viewer. Thank you for watching my mostly cringy, sometimes helpful videos for the past half decade. Thanks for inspiring me to make more and do better, and thanks for supporting One Pico's little dream. And then there was silence.